morning students. Today we will see the facial nerve, which is nothing but a seventh cranial nerve. So it is a seventh cranial nerve. It is a mixed nerve and it is supplying the, yes, so it is having motor as well as sensory fibers. So it is a mixed nerve which is a motor fibers as well as sensory fibers. Okay. So what are the motor fibers that are supplying the muscles of face? It is supplying the muscles of face. Then it also supplies the secretomotor fibers to the lacrimal gland and sublingual and submandibular salivary gland. Okay. So motor fibers to the muscles of face that derived from the second bronchial arch. So this facial nerve is also a nerve of a second bronchial arch. It will supply these muscles of face, facial expressions, and that functional component belong to this muscles of face, that is nothing but a spatial, as it is a efferent column or motor column, spatial, visceral, efferent column that is derived from the second bronchial arch. Then it supplies these motor fibers to the lacrimal gland, that is the secretomotor fibers to the lacrimatory nucleus, and that are called as a general, visceral, efferent column. Okay. Then next it supplies also sublingual as well as submandibular salivary gland to the superior salivatory nucleus. This is the lacrimatory nucleus to this lacrimal gland and the superior salivatory nucleus to the sublingual as well as submandibular gland. These also belong to the general visceral efferent column. Then sensory component, that it carries the general sensations from this gland to the nucleus of tractus solitarius. So it will go to the nucleus of tractus solitarius. So taste fibers that are carried out by this facial nerve and that belong to a column that is called as spatial, visceral, and it is a sensory. So it is an afferent column. Spatial, visceral, afferent column. It also carries the sensations from the sublingual and submandibular gland towards this nucleus of tractus solitarius, and that sensations are called as a general, visceral, afferent column. Okay. Then it also carries the general sensations from the auricle or concha of the auricle and external oculis meatus through the general somatic afferent column. So what are the functional component of facial nerve? It is having spatial, visceral, efferent column that arising from this nucleus of motor nucleus of a facial nerve, and that supplies the muscles of a facial expression that is derived from the second bronchial arch. That's why spatial, visceral, efferent column is there. Then it supplies this lacrimal gland as well as sublingual and submandibular salivary gland through the lacrimatory nucleus as well as superior salivatory nucleus, and that column functional component belongs to a spatial, visceral, efferent column. So it is supplying the secretomotor fiber. Then it sensory, these are the motor component of the facial nerve. Then sensory component, it will carry the sensation from the taste, that is from the anterior two-third of a tongue through this chorda tympanic branch of a facial nerve, and that belongs to a spatial, visceral, afferent column. Okay, and that goes towards the nucleus of a tractus solitarius. Then it belongs to a general sensations, or it brings a general sensation from these glands through this column that is called general, visceral, afferent nerve fibers towards this nucleus of a tractus solitarius. Then it also brings the general sensations that is from the auricle as well as external acoustic meatus to this spinal nucleus of a trigeminal nerve. So spinal nucleus of a trigeminal. So these are the facial component of this mixed nerve, which is a nerve of a second bronchial arch, and sensory fibers that are general, visceral afferent, then spatial, visceral afferent, and general somatic afferent column. Okay. And nuclei of this facial nerve, that is the main motor nucleus of the facial nerve, which is present in the pons. then lacrimetal nucleus, superior salivary nucleus, then this fiber is going towards the nucleus of a tractus solitarius, and sensation, that is a touch, pain, temperature and pressure. These sensations from the auricle that are carried out through this nerve towards this spinal nucleus of a trigeminal nerve. So these are the facial component as well as motor component of this facial nerve. Now we will see what is the cause or what is the origin of a facial nerve. So it is arising at the pontomedullary junction. The nerve fibers are attached to this pontomedullary junction. Suppose this is a pons, then this one is a medulla oblongata. Okay, so here these fibers will attach. That is the motor fibers of a facial nerve as well as sensory fibers of this facial nerve. So motor and sensory fibers, they will combine to form this trunk of a facial nerve. So we will see what are the different nuclei which are present here in this brainstem. Okay, so see that it supplies this lacrimal gland. Okay, so it is having lacrimatory fibers. Then it will supply this submandibular gland that will arising from this superior salivary nucleus. So where this lacrimal gland is present? This lacrimal gland, it is present in the orbit. So in the orbit you are see that this is a bony orbit. At this lateral angle of this bony orbit, you can see that there is a presence of this lacrimal gland, and the secretomotor fibers which are arising from the lacrimatory nucleus that supplies this lacrimal gland that will arising from the lacrimatory nucleus of this facial nerve. So this is the orbit. Then you can see that just below the orbit, what is the thing? That is the maxilla. So here there is a maxilla, okay, which includes this maxillary sinus. Here there is a pterygoid plate, okay, and this is called the pterygopalatine fossa, and where this nucleus, that is the pterygopalatine ganglion, is present. Okay, that is the largest parasympathetic ganglion. So this is the anterior cranial fossa. Okay, so this is the anterior cranial fossa. Then this one is the middle cranial fossa. So this is a middle cranial fossa, and then it is a posterior cranial fossa. Okay, so in the middle cranial fossa, we have seen that there are various foramina. That is a foramina. One is the foramina rotundum. So this foramina rotundum carries the fibers of a maxillary nerve. So this maxillary nerve, it is a nothing but a division of a fifth cranial nerve, that is a trigeminal nerve. Here over this, in the trigeminal cave, over the petrous part of a temporal bone, this largest ganglion is present, that is called trigeminal nerve ganglion. In the cave, that is the trigeminal cave. So these fibers arising from the maxillary division of this, yes, that is the trigeminal ganglion. It also gives one branch or one division that is called as a ophthalmic division. So this ophthalmic division passing through the superior orbital fissure, and it divides into three branches. One is the frontal, one is the nasociliary, and third one is the lacrimal branch, which is going towards this lacrimal gland. Okay. Then third branch or third division of this nerve, that is nothing but a, yes, that is a mandibular division, which passing through this mandibular foramina ovate and enters into the infratemporal region. So this is the mandibular nerve. Okay, here this mandibular nerve divides into ventral and dorsal division, and this will give the motor branches and sensory branches towards the infratemporal region. Then this is the posterior cranial fossa. In the posterior cranial fossa, you have seen that there is a petrous part of a temporal bone which encloses the middle ear cavity or inner ear and middle ear. So here there is an opening is present, and that opening is called the internal acoustic meatus. So we will see what are the different nuclei of this facial nerve. Suppose this is a pons, this one is the medulla oblongata. So this is the floor of a fourth ventricle. Here you can draw this floor of fourth ventricle. Dorsally there is a cerebellum. So this, in the pons there is a nucleus of a abducens nerve. That is the sixth cranial nerve nuclei lies at this pons level, which supplies the fiber to the LR6, that is the lateral rectus muscle. Just infero-lateral to this there is a nucleus of a motor nucleus of a facial nerve. So this motor nucleus of a facial nerve gives rise to the fibers that will go backward and wind around this abducens nerve, and it will emerge at this ontomedullary junction. Okay, so these are the motor fibers which are arising from this motor nucleus of a facial nerve, which bend here, and that will forming an internal genome, and that is also called forming one elevation in the floor of fourth ventricle, and that is called a facial polypus. So these are the motor fibers which are arising from this motor nucleus of a seventh cranial nerve. Then another nuclei are there, that is nothing but a lacrimetry nucleus, okay, which carries the fibers for the lacrimal gland, and as well as there is a superior salivary. So these fibers comes out, and that will be forming the sensory root of this nerve, that is called a nervus intermediate, and they go towards the internal acoustic meatus. Okay, then another fibers which are coming from the anterior two-third of a tongue, and that will enter inside this nucleus of a tractus solitarius. That are the sensory fibers which are carrying the taste sensations from this anterior two-third of a tongue, and that are called as a sensory fiber, that is a special visceral afferent fiber, and that also included in the nervus intermedius. Then this nucleus of a tractus solitarius, which will carries the fibers from three nerves, that is a N for ninth nerve, 10th nerve, and also from the seventh cranial nerve from the tongue. Okay, then it will also carry the sensations from this posterior aspect of a auricle in the spinal nucleus of a trigeminal nerve. Okay, so this is the nucleus of a trigeminal nerve as the main nucleus, then sensory part, and this one is the spinal part of this nucleus of a trigeminal nerve, and these sensations here are carried out by this facial nerve, that is the general sensations from the auricle, touch, pain and temperature, and it will also join this nervus intermediate, that are the sensory fibers. Okay, so motor fibers are there that are arising from the facial motor nucleus, then lacrimetry fibers which are nothing but a secretomotor fibers to this lacrimal gland, superior salivary fibers which are nothing but a secretomotor fibers to the sublingual as well as submandibular salivary gland, then taste fibers which are from the anterior two-third of a tongue going towards this nucleus of a tractus solitarius, then also it carries the general sensations from the auricle and extra-acoustic meatus towards the spinal nucleus of a trigeminal. So these are the nuclei of this facial nerve, and these are the fibers which are arising from this facial nerve nuclei. Okay, so this is the internal acoustic meatus, and this is the internal auditory canal. Okay, this is the internal auditory canal which will go backward, and here it will reach up to this medial wall of a middle ear cavity. Medial wall of a middle ear cavity. So for middle ear cavity is nothing but a matchbox. 6 sides are there, and that is nothing but matchbox is there. And this matchbox, if you remove the lateral wall which is formed by this, lateral wall is formed by tympanic membrane. So you can enter inside this middle ear cavity. Okay, so this is the medial wall of a middle ear. Then this one is the posterior wall of a middle ear. Then this is nothing but a floor of the middle ear. You have removed this roof of the middle ear also. Okay, and here there is a anterior wall of this middle ear cavity. 6 sides are there. Okay, so this canal goes up to this antero-superior angle of this medial wall, then it goes backward, it is having a turn, and it will run at the superior border as a horizontal part of a facial canal, or it is also called as a fallopian canal. Then it goes downward in the posterior wall of this middle ear cavity. That is the vertical part of this, yes, vertical part of a fallopian canal or facial canal. Okay, and it will come out of the skull at the one foramina is there, which is present in this mastoid process, and anteriorly there is a styloid process. So this foramina is called as a stylomastoid foramina. So these fibers I will draw with the red color, that are the motor fibers. Okay, so it will go inside this auditory internal acoustic meatus, auditory canal, then it will go into this fallopian canal or facial canal. Here there is a dilatation is present in this nerve, and that is called as a genuculate ganglia. So this is the external genu of this facial nerve. This one is the internal genu, and this is the external genu of a facial nerve. Then it goes backward in the horizontal canal, then it goes downward vertically, and it comes out through this stylomastoid foramen. Okay, so in the middle ear you have seen that there is a one smallest bone which is derived from the second bronchial arch, which is that bone stapes, and there is a stapedius muscle which will control the hearing. Okay, so if this stapedius muscle which is having control over this foot plate of a stapes. Okay, so this is the facial, stapedius muscle and stapes which are derived from the second bronchial arch. We have removed this lateral wall. Okay, so just below it you can see that there is a one posterior canalicular, then there is a promontory is there, and here there is a vestibular canalicular. Okay, so this posterior canalicular is there. So this now, what are the fibers or branches of this motor root? That is it was encircle, it will form in the internal genu and elevation in the floor of fourth ventricle. Then it goes towards this internal acoustic meatus. Then there is a external genu, in that genuculate ganglion is present, and here one nerve get arises, that is called as a greater petrosal nerve. So this greater petrosal nerve goes upward, it traverses the canal for the greater petrosal nerve, and here one foramina is there, that is called as a foramina lacerum. So it will enter inside this foramina lacerum. So that is nothing but a greater petrosal nerve. Okay, so this greater petrosal nerve, it will join with a sympathetic plexus around this middle meningeal artery. Okay, and that is nothing but a deep petrosal nerve. So it will join the deep petrosal nerve, and together they form the nerve of a pterygoid canal. So the fibers are from the greater petrosal nerve as well as deep petrosal nerve, and there is a canal is there, that is a pterygoid canal, pterygopalatine canal is there. So this is the nerve of a pterygoid canal is there, which goes anteriorly into the pterygopalatine fossa, and the fibers, secretomotor fibers relay in the pterygopalatine ganglia. So here postganglionic fibers are arising from this pterygopalatine ganglia, and they go upward towards this facial maxillary nerve, which is a branch of a trigeminal nerve, which passing through this foramina rotundum, coming towards this inferior orbital fissure, and it gives branches, and that branches are zygomatic branch, then frontal and lacrimal branch. So this fiber joins this frontal and lacrimal branch, and it will also join this lacrimal branch of the ophthalmic division of a trigeminal nerve, and it will supply this lacrimal gland. Okay. Here we can draw, this is the optic nerve, and here there is a presence of this eyeball is there. Okay. It will also give the fibers to this palate, that is the palatine gland, as well as soft palate. It will also supply the glands of a nose. Okay. So these are the secretomotor fibers that are coming from this lacrimetric nucleus of a facial nerve. So what are the another nerve, that is the superior, what are the another constituents of fibers, that is superior salivary nucleus. The fibers coming from the superior salivary nucleus. Yes. So these are the lacrimetric fibers. Okay. The superior salivary nucleus also form a component of a nucleus of a nervous intermediate. It will passing through this fallopian canal, then it will passing through this geniculate ganglion horizontal part, and then goes downward. Okay. Here one canaliculus is present in the posterior wall, that is the posterior canaliculus. So this give a fiber or branch, a cord-like branch is there, that is called as chorda tympani. Okay. So these fibers are carried through this branch, and that will come out through this middle ear cavity through this anterior canaliculus. Then it comes out the cranial fossa at the petrotympanic fissure, and it will join the nerve. Which nerve? That is the lingual branch of this mandibular division of a trigeminal nerve. So here there is a presence of a tongue. Okay. So this it supplies or carries the sensation, that is the touch, pain, temperature and pressure, that is from the anterior to third. The general sensations are carried out through this lingual nerve. So this lingual nerve supplies this anterior to third of a tongue. Okay. So we are dealing with the secretomotor fibers from the superior salivary nucleus. So this fiber join this through this chorda tympani nerve. It will join the lingual nerve. Then they leave the lingual nerve and enter into this one ganglion is there, parasympathetic ganglion, that is called a submandibular salivary ganglion, and that they relay here. Okay. So two glands are there. One is just below the tongue, that is called a sublingual salivary gland, and one another is the submandibular salivary gland. So postganglionic fibers from here that will supply this sublingual and as well as submandibular salivary gland. So this is a secretomotor fibers that is arising from the lacrimetric nucleus and superior salivary nucleus. Then it also carries the taste sensations, that is from this anterior to third of a tongue. Okay. So these taste sensations from the anterior to third of a tongue that are carried into these fibers, that is a general, visceral, afferent column, and they will join this, yes, lingual nerve. Then they leave this lingual nerve and join this chorda tympanic branch of a facial nerve. Then enter inside the middle ear cavity. Then it goes upward and then goes forward, and then passing through the geniculate ganglion, they will reach to this nucleus of a tractus solitarius. Okay. So these are the taste fibers which are coming from the anterior to third of a tongue towards the nucleus of a tractus solitarius. Okay. Then one more nucleus is the spinal nucleus of a trigeminal nerve. So these are the nothing but a afferent column, that is a general somatic afferent, and that are passing through this facial stylomastoid foramina, vertical part, horizontal part. They relay in this geniculate ganglion, and then postganglionic fibers go towards this spinal nucleus of a trigeminal nerve. So these are the nerve fibers or components of this facial nerve. So now we will see what are the branches of a facial nerve. So here internal acoustic meatus, it forms a main trunk which having motor component as well as sensory component. Sensory component is called as a nervous intermediate. In the internal acoustic meatus, another nerve is there, which is that nerve that supplying the ear, that is the eighth cranial nerve. Okay. Then it goes here in the auditory canal, then bend in the fallopian canal, there is a one ganglion is there, that is called a geniculate ganglion. So it consists of, it is a sensory ganglion, it consists of a pseudo-unipolar cell. So pseudo-unipolar cells, the peripheral process go towards this auricle as well as these glands, okay, and this central process goes towards this spinal nucleus of a trigeminal nerve as well as nucleus of a tractus solitarius, okay. So these are the fibers of cranial nerve nuclei of a seventh cranial nerve. Now we will see the what are the branches of this facial nerve. So here in the internal acoustic meatus or in the middle ear cavity, it will give one branch, and that branch in the vertical part, it will give one branch, and that branch supplies this muscle, smallest muscle of the body, that is the stapedius muscle. Okay, so this is the motor one because stapedius is also arising from this second bronchial arch. Then it goes downward and comes out through this stylomastoid foramina. So here one gland, largest gland is there. Which is that gland? Salivary gland. We have seen this sublingual gland, submandibular gland, and this is nothing but a parotid gland, which is just around the otic, means around the external acoustic meatus. So this facial nerve component which will come, it will crosses this styloid process and it will enter inside this parotid gland from the posterior medial surface, and it comes out, these branches are coming out through this anterior border of this parotid gland, and here it gives terminal branches. 5 terminal branches are there. One is the temporal branch, then next is the zygomatic branch, then buccal branch, then mandibular branch and cervical branch of this facial nerve. So these are the 5 motor branches of this, terminal branches of the facial nerve. Temporal branch, zygomatic branch, then buccal branch, then mandibular branch, and this is nothing but a cervical. So 5 terminal branches which supplying the muscles of a facial expression. Then it is also giving the branch towards this posterior aspect, where this posterior belly of digastric, which also derived from the second bronchial arch, so which is present here. So it will give the fibers to this posterior belly of a digastric. Then another muscle that arising from the second bronchial arch, that is the which arising from the styloid process going towards the hyoid, stylohyoid muscle. So these are the motor branches of the facial nerve. One in this vertical part of a facial canal to the stapedius muscle. Other branches after coming out through this stylomastoid foramina towards this posterior belly of this digastric muscle. Then also towards the stylohyoid muscle, and it gives branches of the facial to the muscles of a facial expression, that is a temporal, zygomatic, buccal, marginal mandibular and cervical branches, which is also supplying this platysma muscle, which is derived from the second bronchial arch. Got it? So these are the branches from arising from the motor nerve, and these are the organs which are supplied by this facial nerve. One is the lacrimal gland through the lacrimatory nucleus, then lacrimal gland fibers that passing from the genu into this through the greater petrosal nerve, then it will join the deep petrosal nerve to form a nerve of a pterygoid canal, and these fibers will in the pterygopalatine ganglion. Post-ganglionic fibers will be supplying this lacrimal gland, also palatine gland and nasal gland. Okay. Here next, that is the secretomotor fibers to this sublingual and submandibular salivary gland, which are carried out through the superior salivary nucleus passing through this fallopian canal. Then it will enter into this middle ear cavity through this posterior canaliculus, come out through the anterior canaliculus and come out of the skull at the petrotympanic fissure and join the lingual nerve and supplying the submandibular salivary ganglion. These are the preganglionic fibers, and postganglionic fibers arising here, and that will give the secretomotor fibers to the sublingual as well as submandibular salivary gland. So this is about total detail about this facial nerve. So it will also carry the general sensation, that is of a touch, pain, temperature and pressure from this auricle through this general visceral afferent column or general somatic afferent column, and that will go towards this geniculate ganglion where it relay the and postganglionic fibers from here going towards the spinal nucleus of a trigeminal nerve. Got it? So this is the distribution of this facial nerve, and this facial nerve, it is having control from this cerebral cortex, that is from the cerebrum, from precentral gyrus. There are the fibers coming downward and which are controlling this motor nucleus of a facial nerve. So when there is an injury in applied anatomy we can see that there is an injury of the facial nerve. So it is having a various long course, so this injury is at the different level. So from this cerebral cortex, that is a cingulate gyrus or precentral gyrus, that will going towards this facial nucleus. So this portion is called as a corticonuclear or corticobulbar fibers, which is passing through this corona radiata, then through the internal capsule, then from this crus cerebri, then it will enter in or which will relay in this motor nuclei. So these are called as a upper motor neurons of the facial, and lower motor neurons from this facial nuclei, then also in this facial canal, then from stylomastoidal. All these are the lower motor neurons. Okay. So injury may be at this superior upper motor neuron, or it may be at this internal acoustic meatus, it may be in the fallopian canal, it may at this stylomastoid foramen. Okay. So injury means when the nerve is cut. Okay. What are the causes of injury of the facial nerve? Yes, there may be a hemorrhage which will damage this corticobulbar tract, and that will causing the upper motor neuron lesion. Okay. Lower motor neuron lesion, there are chances of this any tumor which arising from this internal acoustic meatus, which will compress this vestibulocochlear nerve also, and it will also hamper all the muscles or what are the branches that are arising below it. Okay. So this is the lower motor neuron. So there are two components, that is upper motor neuron and lower motor neuron. So in next lecture we will see this applied anatomy.